All right, and here at home, are we going to see some of the impact of that all? Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Alana Brophy for the latest.
We could see some tropical remnants, Emily, but we've got to start with taking a look at that storm. Hurricane Hillary is now a major hurricane. Infrared satellite shows the last couple of hours. You can see that eye very well defined. When we talk about Category 4, it means we're seeing winds between 130 and 156 miles per hour. So the warm water fueling this storm. Now it is going to run into some cooler water and start to decay. As we watch the path here, you can see it moves towards Southern California, likely to be a tropical storm when it makes landfall in Southern California. But those tropical remnants are going to play around. We've got heavy rain on the way for coastal areas and the deserts of California. First time the National Hurricane Center has put out a tropical storm watch for this area. First time ever in history. So this is going to be a monumental storm just for that reason alone. As we look at the rainfall forecast, you can see that plume of moisture that comes in here in the yellow and orange, and those big totals. LA at 3 inches, Vegas in that same arena, 1.5 in St. George. So right now, the models think that track could bring some impacts over to western Utah. Here's a look at the rainfall threat into tomorrow, and you can see that slight threat in yellow, which is on a scale of 1 to 4, number 2. We've got that marginal risk throughout the rest of the state. That's monsoon moisture in place, but we start to see some tropical remnants really making their presence known on Sunday. This large plume of moisture shows that the core of that moisture will hit California and Nevada, but we have that marginal risk for rainfall west of I-15 and that more serious slight risk in the southwest corner of the state. So we're going to see where this track goes. We could see that marginal risk expand to the east or pull back to the west, depending on the path of Hillary. So that's why we're paying attention to what's going on in the West Coast and in the eastern Pacific. Utah Lake tonight, quiet conditions, but they did see some storms coming through. Storm tracker radar shows some echoes of moisture still over the lake and near Spanish Fork. As we jump over to eastern Utah, quieting down, but south of Uinta County and towards Castle Country, maybe a stray storm. West Desert, Beaver, all the way through Delta and Milford. Those are areas that have been active throughout the evening. What we're keeping an eye on, well, all that lightning south of St. George pushing into Washington County. Gusty winds still for nocturnal storms with heavy rain and lightning on deck for the overnight. High temperatures today, 94 in Salt Lake, 94 in St. George. So cloud cover keeping us on the cooler side down south and allowing us to be pretty warm along the Wasatch Front. The monsoon setup was there today with the high to the east and the low to the west, funneling in that soggy southerly flow. Flood alerts, as I mentioned, the flood watch has been expanded. This holds on until tomorrow night, so we are going to see the potential for flash flooding. Futurecast takes us through this evening, how we just saw a few of those storms popping up. Now, as we get through the overnight, those storms push through the West Desert. We're watching what happens in southern Utah. Nocturnal storms with cloud cover for tomorrow. Scattered storms are expected for your Saturday. Here we are by 1 p.m., and you watch as that line of storms impacts Nephi all the way over to the state line, as well as over Lake Powell, St. George yet again, and we're going to see some terrain-driven storms in the north. Eventually that moisture pushes north by 7 p.m. The model likes it in Salt Lake County all the way over to West Wendover. Gusty winds, lots of lightning, heavy rain. That's what's on deck. Now as we head into Sunday, we'll see how those tropical remnants shape up. Temperatures in the 80s, cooling off slightly with more cloud cover and storms. 80s and 90s on the eastern side of the state. Upper 80s in St. George, where thunderstorms are on deck for the next 7 days. More widespread with those tropical remnants Sunday and into Monday. Temperatures also dip into the low 80s. That does not feel like Washington County. The Wasatch Front isolated to scattered storm potential for the next 7. Temperatures staying mainly below average. Winds on Monday will crank us close to seasonal norms. But in the weather world, it's exciting. I would argue that the football world may be a little better. Are you ready for some Friday night football? Beehive Blitz.